Today we're going to take a look at the PID Pro Kit from Barista Gadgets. Now the Pro Kit comes with a voltage regulator for the pump here. There's a potentiometer on the side, and that opens up a whole lot of opportunities to play with this machine, which is great. So let me just give you a brief overview of it, and I'm going to turn it on right away. So you'll see, by the way, that we got a light inside. The Barista Gadgets kit also does come with a light, and I installed this PID kit already, I don't know, some months back. It's pretty cool. What I like a lot about this PID kit is that it comes with a colored graphical display, and it's really nice to use. In my opinion, it's nicer to use than the antiquated ones that you see that are really boxy and just have the red digits. This display is nicer. And excuse me for misspeaking, it doesn't show a graph. It's not a graphical display, but it is a pretty high quality colored display. It's crisp and it's nice to use. You can also set up profiles with this Pro version so that you can, manipulate the pump power how you want. And I've currently got 2 profiles set on there. So we're gonna take a look at that in just a little bit. But I think I should probably give you a view of this first. So this is what it looks like from the side. You can see I got the potentiometer located here, and this is the steam knob, of course. I've got a hole covered up that I originally had a different dimmer in, and a dimmer is different than what we got in here. I believe it's a voltage regulator inside, because it's 2 pieces. It's this potentiometer, and then it's also a controller that controls the pump power. This is what it looks like from the back. So you do have wires sticking out there. You got in total 4 different connections here on this device. And they just come out back there through the slits. You've also have to connect a relay to the back as well as the pump control. So that's what that looks like. Before I go any further, I actually received this from Barista Gadgets. I hadn't asked for it. I did request the original version without the pump control, but yeah, they just sent me this one and I thought, well, that's pretty neat. I'm gonna set it up. So we're going to have a look at it. I'm gonna tell you my experience so far, and at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how I installed this Pro Kit, and I'm also going to link, of course, the installation video I did on how to install the rest. Because this kit consists of a few different parts, you need to control, the heat via the relay. You need to install a thermal probe. There's also a really cool feature with this PID. You connect a sensor to the solenoid so that you can see when the solenoid switches, and with that being the case, you've actually got a shot counter on here, which is really nice. So yeah, it comes with all of that stuff. So I think where this really excels, especially over other dimmers and so on, is that you can just set the pump power as you want. So with a dimmer, you can only cut off the first half of the curve. So if you've got like 50 or 60 hertz going like that, you can cut off, the first part of that sine wave to reduce your water flow. But with this, you can reduce the water flow all the way to 0. So if I flip the switch, that's 100, and I can go down. That's 50 right there. That's 25. And I can go all the way down. That's 5%. And go all the way to 0. So at that point, it's just the pressure that's in the boiler. The pump is not actually even engaged anymore, but the solenoid is open. And for that reason, this is counting. And for that reason, because we still got a little bit of residual pressure in the boiler, it was coming out. So let's shut that guy off. So that's something really neat. You can adjust the flow on the fly, and it's quite fun to play around with. But what I like quite a bit about this is you can set up profiles. So I've got a profile set up with just 3 steps. I put on 30% pump power for 5 seconds for pre-infusion. Then I do 3 seconds no pump to kind of let it bloom there. And then I do 25 seconds of, I think, 100% pump power. And so that way it's kind of a more gentle extraction, I feel like. Like even beans that are a little bit older, you can get a decent looking extraction out of them, and a tasty one too. So I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and make an espresso. I'm gonna go back to the profile. So for that, you just gotta hold it in. I'm gonna go through all of these settings in just a moment. So I'm gonna go back to pump control, hit auto, and I got for the profile settings, I've got profile 1 selected. Excellent. And it shows me up here, by the way, my temperature and the shot clock for the last shot. So that's nice. And I got profile 1 set up. Now this guy, by the way, the previous version was magnetic. You could just stick it to the side. This one's not magnetic anymore. It does come with some double-sided tape, but I don't care to use that. I like to have this flexible because you have to do some adjusting with it. There's 3 buttons on the back, up, down, and to enter the menu. So I like to just leave that flexible, just like that.
Getting value from this video? Please take a moment to like and subscribe.
So let's make ourselves an espresso and see what it looks like. These are some Lavazza beans right here, and they are in fact decaf. They're decaf. So I'm gonna just give them a spritz because they are notoriously full of static, but they actually taste pretty good. So I have lately really been enjoying using both this Normcore portafilter holder that makes things easier for me, as well as this guy. This is the MHW3 Bomber, and it's a Cyclone. Just press that down a few times and you got your WTT done already. So very simple. So what we're going to do then is put this in the machine. We're going to run the profile 1 and just see how the shot looks. So there's our shot right there. That is looking pretty tasty, in particular for decaf. It's like 5 months old, these beans, but still got some crema out of there. And I feel like the shot was really gentle. So that is nice. This has been giving me really nice shots. I feel like they're a little bit more gentle, therefore more well-rounded. At least that's how I perceive it. It's an interesting shot, a little bit more complex. And it's got certainly some almonds, a little bit of milk chocolate maybe in that one. It's quite good, especially for decaf. Now I want to show you something else that's interesting about this PID unit because it does control the pump power. What else you can do, it's got something called steam boost. So what that means is you can essentially, as you're steaming, keep adding a little bit more water, pss, 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 and that will help you not run out of water. So now, I wouldn't really say that it increases performance, like steam performance, but what it is going to do is allow you to steam for longer if you want to, which is nice because you don't run out of water. What else is kind of neat, I don't know if you can see it, but it's going to tell me when to purge. It says purge now. Okay, and now I'm going to start steaming. And now if I press this brew button, it's going to add a little bit of water now and again. It's getting plenty hot already. All right. There we go. Okay, I should have used more milk, but if you can see that very creamy, it's going to be nice. So yeah, does a good job still with the milk steaming. That is a question that sometimes people ask, is if you do modifications to the machine, can it still steam milk just fine? Yes, it can. All right, so what I like to do next is do an Allonge. So what that is something like a 5-to-1 ratio shot, and running at a water debit of just 4.5 milliliters per second. So let's just see what that looks like here. I'm using a lighter roast. coffee bean. I got that set up on profile too with that lower water debit. Let's have a look. While that's pulling, one thing I will mention is that the percentage that you set up here in the potentiometer, or rather the pump power, that's not really linear to the flow that you're going to get. So I measured, I believe at 50% pump power, I think I had 7 milliliters per second. And to get 4.5 milliliters per second, I was like 20%, 20 grams. So, and 0%, of course, is zero flow. So it's not really linear. You just have to experiment a bit to find the water debit that you want. Write that down, put it in a profile, you're good to go. See, is my cup even big enough for 80? Oh, almost. Okay, right there I got 76 grams in 43 seconds. So that is what you could call an Allonge. Not an ideal cup, but I have been enjoying making these as well, in particular with some like medium to light roast. So cheers. Very fruity. So, all right, so we just had a look, made ourselves an espresso, a cappuccino, and now an Allonge. So I'd like to go through the menu now and show you what the menu looks like, what you can set up. And then after that, I am going to show the tutorial, how to install the Pro Kit. And finally, I will include also in the video description and probably up here somewhere in the video, the link to the original video where I show you how to install the PID portion of this kit. All right, let's just take a look here at the interface itself one time. There's 3 buttons in the back. Just press the middle one for a couple seconds to get into the settings. So you're gonna see you got the set temperature there. And with the set temperature, if you press enter, you can go down, you can go up. It's at about a 10-degree offset. So I'm gonna leave it at 103. Then you got the group head offset itself. You got the display orientation. You can either have a horizontal like this or vertical. I prefer it like this. You can choose different display colors. I got white right now. Celsius or Fahrenheit, the PID settings, I just let them at the default. So I got 38, 4, and 180 for my P, I, and D values. Then what we got is the warm-up time, 0 minutes. Not sure what that is. Got the heater safety time, that's set to, I believe, an hour. Oops. I haven't looked into all of these settings yet, if I'm being honest. Got the timer, hold, timer mode, steam temperature. Now here you can set the minimum. I got it set at 150, and you can set the max. Set the max. That's at 153. Those are the default values. So I'm going to go back now, and you've got the electrical frequency. I got mine set at 50 hertz. You can also choose 60. So back. Pump control. Now this is where you can choose between auto and manual. So I've got auto set for the profiles, and manual is just to adjust it on the fly as you want. Then if we leave it on auto, go down, you got your profile settings. So on the profile settings, you can choose your profile. So you can set that up. If I select it and go to settings, you can see phase 1. I got 30% pump power set for 5 seconds. And if I want to change that, then you do it by first adjusting on the right. I got the potentiometer, I can adjust that. And then the time. So timing's 1 second. If I go up, you can go 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. You can go back down, but I'm not going to adjust that. Anyway, if I go to next phase, phase 2, I got 0% for 3 seconds. And then if I go to next phase, the rest is I got 100% for 1 second, and it just keeps on going. The next phases, you got up to 8 of them. And so if I go all the way to the end, you're going to see that I got for phase 8. For phase 8, I got 100% and end by brew switch. So that means that I turn it off myself. All right, so let's go back. I'm gonna go select and exit. You got 3 profiles. Profile 2, and I'm gonna do a timing. I'm gonna do that for, I don't know, 10 seconds. Next, save and continue. And phase 2, I'm just gonna do the timing 1 second until I get all the way to the end. Select, save and continue, save and continue, save and continue, blah, blah, blah. And now 8, end by brew switch is correct. So we're gonna save and continue that. All right, so now I'm gonna go, let's cancel it down to exit. And what else we got? Reset to default. You can do that or you can exit the menu. So that's what you got going on right there. All right, let's see how to install that Pro Kit. First, let's remove that silicone tube and the second one as well. Then we got to release 2 screws from that housing of the pump. They're kind of hard to get at. I hope that you can see them in the video at least a little bit. I got a magnetic screwdriver to help me get them out of there. Almost wiggle that whole thing up out of there. And then you can see the pump and the connectors. I got them labeled left and right. So we got to remove those guys. We're going to remove the right one first. You got to kind of give it a good wiggle. All right, I got that guy removed. And now here is the pump kit. So you got 3 wires on there, the first and second and third wire. I'm going to take the first wire there and attach that directly to that right terminal of the pump. And then the second one is going to go to the wire that was attached to the pump. Finally, the left one we're going to remove. And we're going to attach that to that pigtail connector. Then we're going to attach that whole thing back to that left terminal, just like that. They're a little stubborn sometimes, get back on. Then we got to get that guy put back down in there on top of its mounting and screw those 2 screws back in. I really suggest using a magnetic screwdriver here to be able to get those back down into the holes. And it was really hard to film where the holes are at. So you're just going to have to look yourself. Use a flashlight if you got one. Okay, I'm going to put this one in on the back side, and I kind of have to get in between wires and everything. But hopefully you can kind of see where that screw is at. So getting that turned in, and now we've got that pump mounting assembled again. We're going to put that first hose back down in there. And now let's mount that pump control kit. We're just going to attach it with the included screw and screw that to the back plate there. You can see me screwing it on here and just tighten it up, snug it up a little bit. There you go. So now we have to run those wires from that pump controller through the back of the housing there. Just run them through there. Be careful because the housing is just a little bit sharp on those holes that have been cut out. And here is the potentiometer that we're going to attach as well. So we have to sneak that in that little gap down there. You see where the screwdriver is? You have to kind of pry the gap open just a little bit. And it is flexible. That side of the housing is flexible. Then you can pull that cord up through there. Now we're going to put this through the back slot as well. This is the thermo probe that we're going to put back through as well. That was from the initial installation. Pull that through gently, and then the main cable, we're going to pull that through as well. And then we have the 4 cables that we need. Just kind of work that through slowly. And each time I want to check with that top cap to make sure that it's going to fit in there with that funnel in particular. Let's remount the relay. So I'm going to put that screw back through there and the nut on the back side. And we're going to snug that up good just like that with the pliers there. Now we want to check again with that funnel and top lid and make sure it fits properly. So now that we know it fits, we can put in the second hose. That is the overflow of the overpressure valve. And let's put the lid back on and see how it looks. All right, looks like we can close it up with everything that we have inside there. So far, so good. Nice.
Again.
Okay, now we have to attach these cables to the new PID controller screen. So there it is, it's bigger, new and improved, got 2 new connections. So that's the main cable there we're gonna plug back in. It has to be oriented correctly, by the way. So snap that guy in. Next comes a thermal probe. Put that guy in, oriented correctly. Now we just have to put in the pump controller there. Stick that guy in there. And finally, the potentiometer for the pump controller. So now we have all 4 cables attached. And we're good to go. Let's test it out one time and just see if it turns on. Oh, there it comes. Nice. Okay, so we'll see heating up here. Takes about, I think, a minute to heat up. And you can see we're in manual mode there. 43%, that means the potentiometer is at 43% of pump power. Let's fill it up with some water. And let's try it out here. Let's try out the potentiometer, turn it all the way down. And let's turn it back up. And you can hear and see that the pump power changes with that potentiometer input, which is nice. That turns out is really fun to play with. So now you got control of the temperature as well as the pump power. All right, let's test out the steaming as well. That is also working. So, okay, we have tested out the functionality. Now it's time just to get this guy buttoned back up. Open up the steam valve there real quick. Close it again. That's all working. So now let's get this cleaned up with some zip ties. Cinch those up and snip them off. Looking better already. Oh, and we should clean up on the inside as well. Those wires are quite long, so I cinched those up as well and attached them to the inside with a stick-on cable holder. Now we'll put the lid back on. Screw it back on. It's only 2 screws. That's the nice thing about the Gaggia. Put the lid on. Now as far as this PID controller is concerned, I like to just set it on top there so that it's flexible. It does not have magnets anymore, by the way, like it used to. You can attach it with an adhesive if you want. Just like this potentiometer, you can attach that with the adhesive and it holds really well. Let's just place it nice so that we can kind of tuck those wires up underneath there. Just like so. And then we got ourselves a nice, clean solution. Excellent. Nice. Alright guys, so for the initial installation of the PID kit, what you gotta do before you put in the Pro kit, please check out the original video, which I will link here. Now, how would I compare the Barista Gadgets Pro to others, like the shades? There's a whole bunch of them out there. I don't know, for me, this one is aesthetically speaking, just much nicer to use, to look at, to interact with. And that's why I went for this one originally. I mean, it offers, the pump power offers the light, which is nice. It offers what they call the steam boost to add some water while you're steaming, so that's nice. There's other features in there I haven't explored, even all of them, all the settings anyhow. But I think that it's very competitive with what else you got out there for the price, and in my opinion offers more features and a much nicer interface. What I do have to say is these things are often out of stock. So if you see them available, and if you want one, I would say just buy it before it's out of stock. And that is a little frustrating. I'm gonna put links into the video description. If you would like to get this, I'll put in, I think it's an eBay affiliate link. All right guys, thanks very much for watching. I hope the video was helpful for you. If so, give it a like. If you thought it sucked, give it a dislike. Whatever the case, thanks a lot for being with me. And until next time, I say happy coffee drinking and happy espresso drinking. Bye now.